sabe?
Ok, adesso
Scarichi, io finisco qua.
Ok.
All right, y'all with me? Y'all with me? I got it queued up here. I think we're good. Okay, good. Let's see. Pull this up. This is William outside the Hollywood Testing Center.
How's it going, guys? You guys get out of this Scientology. Don't lock them in, that's kidnapping.
Shannon tried to lock them in, like shut the door. You cannot tell me that she didn't see they were trying to.
Leah Finnegan, Olympian Leah Finnegan, so much buzz around her teammate, Haley Bryant, the NCAA all-around champ, only doing one event tonight, so a lot riding on her shoulders in the all-around.
Wow. Head coach Jay Clark said that she has never looked better. And what's even more impressive about that is she hasn't had the same amount of rest that the other
people going into Everson's stream being bullies. I mean, like, how is that fighting narcissistic abuse? I mean, come on, that's so gross. Thank you, Be Merry for Life. I like that. Thank you. You are loved, thought of often, and always make me smile. Aw, thank you.
And I have chased after kids who don't believe that I am Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm like, I am Obi-Wan Kenobi. I was driving my kids to school, and I was at a stop sign, and like, this is the thing about LA, you get like 16 or 15 and a half-year-olds driving cars, blew past us at a stop sign. And I thought that was very dangerous, because it was. And I pulled up, and I raced after him, and my daughter was like, don't, Dad, don't. And I was like, I will. I am going to. And I pulled up beside him, and I started raging at him. You idiot, you fucking idiot, like this. And my daughters were going like that, Dad. But I saw in his eyes, I saw that's fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Have those on. Once the building warms up, the snow is just gonna fly off. And it can actually be pretty dangerous.
Well, John, before this meet started, unfortunately, LSU's Chase Brock went down with a lower leg injury while warming up her double back on floor. Head coach Jay Clark carried a very emotional, shaken up Chase Brock off the floor. And having watched the injury and talked to her after, Jay Clark told me their concern is an Achilles injury. She is down here with her team. She's on crutches and in a boot. The medical team will give another event.
1,700 pounds of fuel left. This is extreme emergency for me.
The other problem is this is all have that. But their plane has something cool that my plane doesn't have, because apparently putting missiles on a 747 isn't safe. So they have other capabilities that my plane doesn't have. My plane can...
So here's Chris Stanfield making his debut as an LSU Tiger. This is one of the fastest players in the country. He is the fastest Tiger in running speed and one of the very top speed guys in the land. He's from Tallahassee, Florida.
Yeah, Jay Johnson wants Chris Stanfield to be in that lineup every day because of what he brings to the table. And what he brings is what you talked about, in elite legs. I mean, he can really, really go.
And he takes a full swing and drives this one deep into left center field. This ball is misplayed on the warning track. Stanfield stumbles a bit as he rounds second, but he'll have no trouble finishing at third base. Center fielder Caspery appeared able to make the...
There's your center fielder Casper, and he gets to it, hits in his glove, and just kind of kicks out. Stanfield, a little bit of stumble around second base, but easily into third base.
Changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico.
That's all that you let me be.
Changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico.
That's all that you let me be.
Fruit tea and some honey and helping them enjoy the afternoon.
Throw him. Toss him. Give him a toss.
At that point, had you seen, what family members did you see at Moselle on Friday, which would have been the June 4th of 2021? Do you remember?
Paul.
And what was your interaction with Paul that day?
Paul walked through the door, his usual self. I was walking out of the laundry room, coming into the kitchen, and Paul came in the front door, and he was holding a laundry basket full of clothes. And as he was approaching me, he saw me, and he said, "What's up, Miss B?" And I just looked at him. I said, "Boy," I said, "if you got all them dirty clothes and you want me to take care of that," I said, "I'm getting ready to leave." He's like, "Oh, come on, Miss B. You can help me out." He said, "I need them for the weekend." I said, "Well, just pull a couple of them out, what you need, and I'll take care of it." And I ended up staying late to make sure that he had his clothing ready for the weekend.
So did you wash the clothes for the entire family? Was that part of your...
Yes, sir, I did.
And did Paul leave that Friday?
Yeah, I saw him leave. I don't know whether he was actually gone for the weekend or if he was still.
And did you ever see him again?
No, sir.
He doesn't have a doctor.
He doesn't?
No. He's eating soup.
I see that. Hi, Mrs. Akalitis. The Zimbergs are waiting on some test results, and I told them they can stay in here until they get them.
Is that right? They can wait in the waiting room.
Okay, can I speak with you a minute?
That's not a happy woman.
Gloria, can you be a nurse again for 1 second? Stick your head in there and tell me what you see.
He's dying.
Yes, he is.
He can have till the end of your shift.
No, Code. We're all right. No, Code. I'm so sorry. You know, I think the soup really did help ease his suffering.
That's all I ever wanted. I knew he was dying, even though he didn't want me to know. We were married for 100 years. How could I not know he was dying?
Sorry for your loss.
Gay kakanaf and yum.
You're welcome.
What did that mean?
Yiddish. For go shit in the ocean.
Very nice.
Who's your...
You're getting it! I got it! Whee! That was so fun!
That's 25, it's Georgian flight. Pass 25, pass 1 is Jersey.
This club has a aircraft inside precision separation.
Good separate.
American 4782 by Baton now for an visual.
American 472, Washington, 1 star, 32017.
Alright, this is Ren. Did you see that?
American 472. American 3130, go around, turn left in 250, Clementine, 3000.
Okay, left hand 350, 3000, American 3130.
Tower, Blue Streak, 5347 is on final request, runway 33, circle to 33.
Again, heading for American 3130.
To build something that will last hundreds of years and something that we can be proud of that we work together on. And this would not have been doable if we hadn't turned our property into a mini quarry, because now all of the materials aside from the sand and cement were essentially free, and it's as grand as it now looks. I feel a little awkward that it looks so huge and grand, but it was just materials that we dug out of the earth, and an opportunity for me to learn and stretch my skills, and I am proud of what we built here.
Then you should be proud.
Thank you.
It's pretty amazing.
Flying a drone in the fire traffic area is not only dangerous, but it's illegal. We do have our federal partners behind the scenes are going to be implementing procedures to be able to follow drones in our 2 large fire areas, and they will be able to identify who the operator of that drone is. The most important thing to know is that if you fly a drone at one of these brush fires, all aerial operations will be shut down, and we certainly don't want to have that happen.
You
No.
Take that dog.
No, he's
Can I
sleeping.
pet that dog? Can I pet that dog?
No.
Can I pet that dog?
No.
Can I pet that dog?
No, he's
Can I
sleeping.
pet that dog? Can I pet
Yes, Maggie told me she had to go to a doctor's appointment, and she said that in the text, Maggie said, Alec wants me to come home. And she said, and in a phone conversation, she told me, she said, I left some food in the refrigerator. Is there any way that you can cook? Paul likes the way you cook. So she said, because I don't think I'll be back in time. So I said, yeah, sure. I said, I'll do it. So it was nothing. I finished what I was doing, and then I started cooking, making sure the meal was ready for when Paul and they arrived at home, well, that afternoon. And we had another conversation on the phone where she told me, she said, Alec wants me to come home. And she kind of sounded like she didn't want to come home. Because she really liked being at Edisto. And they had a lot of work that was going on, and she was trying to make sure everything was ready for the 4th of July gathering that she was planning. So she was very detail orientated, so she wanted everything perfect. So she was she sounded like she was a little disappointed. And then she said, well, Alec asked Paul to come home too, because he's got to fix the mess up out there that CB had done.
That CB Road?
Yes, sir. And he said Alec had told Paul to come and fix it because they were planning on having a hunt that weekend, so he wanted everything ready and good to go.
So he'd asked Maggie to come, and then he had asked Alex to come.
That's what
Paul to come.
Paul, that's what Maggie told me over the phone.
Because I was curious, but because I said, fuck it, man, I don't want to be in my room the whole time. So it was a gradual series of indoctrinations. I remember one moment in particular where I did this exercise called the book and bottle. Not to lose your audience on nomenclature, but it's on something at the time that was called TRs and objectives. It's kind of the very beginning of the bridge to total enslavement. It's a hypnotic way of falling into a trance. So day after day, hour after hour, week after week, telling my auditor, I hate this, get me out of here. I'm just constantly rebelling. I had a major, what they call win. I snapped into a hypnotic trance, and I remember that day very clearly. It was the first real win I ever had. And my auditor asked me what's happening, and I was at a loss for words. I'd never felt that way before. I felt what it is, Kelly. It's dissociation. And you have a floating feeling when you go into this trance-like state, doing this monotonous exercise day after day, hour after hour. And I was told by my auditor that this is a form of exteriorization. So they reform hypnotic phenomena I learned since leaving into wins such as exteriorization. So I said, I don't know what this is. I want more of it. I'm semi-hooked. I still don't totally like it. It was grueling to get these wins each time, but I was always looking for that high that I got as a kid. And I experienced that a lot throughout Scientology. So it was gradual. And then it was also being introduced to the ethics conditions. Oh, I don't have to have this scrambled life. I can logically, which I was really attracted to, logically, because you know how logical everything is in Scientology, right, Kelly? Or it seems that way. These initial tools for life, they seemed like they were beneficial, and bit by bit by bit, I took to it. And then I guess I really took to it when I was around 19 or 20. And that was when I had a problem with smoking weed. And long story short, I decided to give up the weed habit. And because I was getting high, I was having the same phenomena happen as being stoned in the auditing. So I found my spiritual home. I've never felt this way before. Clearly, L. Ron Hubbard has a technology that's unique. And if I can feel high without drugs and all these tools that I'm learning and all these wins that I had without realizing what was happening to me, I'm in. So once I crossed that line, I dedicated myself from around 20, and I woke up around in my early to mid 30s. And that's another experience we can talk about later, perhaps. That's the brief story.
That was textbook.
Unbelievable from Caitlin Chio. I'm excited to watch the Avery Neff, Caitlin Chio back and forth. Two of the best freshmen in the country.
Watch the way that her elbows are straight and she just catapults going 6 feet in the air. Judges take into account the height and the distance.
Great.
This is going to be a massive score. I wonder if she's going to get a 10.
It would be the first 10 we've seen early in this 2025 season. Those are the tech tools. Thank you to AAI for those.
Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye. Now on this February 2nd, Punxsutawney Phil, the seer of seers, the prognosticator of all prognosticators, was awakened from his wintry nap at dawn on Gobbler's Knob. Phil looked to the skies and then, speaking in groundhogese, directed the president to the proper scroll, which reads, "What a way to start a Sunday fun day. You always said you'd make it here one day. To this place barely big enough to contain ya, to this sweet Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. We're all here with the elements combined, where Mother Nature meets Father Time. To hear the truth are those gray skies. Only I know you can't trust AI. It's Groundhog Day, and maybe life is on a loop. But I miss my burrow. I miss my coop. So I'm headed back down. There's a shadow up here. Get ready for 6 more weeks of winter this year.
From the set he deals, that swung on and driven deep down the left field line toward the corner, and this ball is going to be... Oh, it's caught! It's not Jake Wald. That's the ball girl. Jake Wald in left field, can't believe it. And look, she shows him up. She just sort of tosses him the ball, saying, take that, Jake. I don't see you making the effort. Alfonso, the catcher, he can't believe it. Let's look at that replay. Oh, my.
The risk you take if you're stupid enough to get plastic surgery. Excuse me.
She does. She looks beautiful. For Tara Reid, she looks beautiful. I would have liked to see maybe the hair up and no earrings, but hey, I'm not going to say anything bad.
The shiny gray, it makes her look like a dolphin, you know? And, oh, it's sick. And as this is Tara Reid, we just know sooner or later we're going to see her blowhole. And it's just so exciting.
Just ever ice bucket challenge? Take a look.
Water challenge! I nominate Marshall, Adam, Chantal. Look out.
Top off the flask, the gases evaporate, you apply a light, and boom! Now, two gases do that better than any other. And it was Obert's assistant who put them together most efficiently. His name was Werner von Braun, and the two gases that he released from his particular version of a thermos flask, the one lying on its side behind me now, were hydrogen and oxygen. If you release those two gases into a confined space with a hole at the other end of it, and mix them as you do so, and then set light to them, you get that. Destination, the moon or Moscow. The planets or Peking.
Very little by way of restraints, as the gondolas are enclosed. It is impossible to fall out during normal operation, and in any event, the forces which act on the riders usually keep them pressed back securely into their seats. As midnight approached, Skylab ride attendants loaded guests into each of the gondolas and secured the doors. Most gondolas contained one guest each, but in some cases couples or parents with children chose to ride together. Once the ride was full, staff began its cycle. The first part of the ride went smoothly. The gondolas picked up speed and the hydraulic arm began to rise. Nobody at this stage had noticed that the head of Norbert's telescopic crane was dangerously close to the path of the Skylab. As the angle of the hydraulic arm increased, the gondolas flew closer and closer to the abandoned crane. The impact, when it happened, caused the whole ride to shake and rattle. Abruptly, screams of exhilaration became screams of pain and terror. One after another, the gondolas smashed into the arm of the crane, which ripped easily through the lower parts of the gondolas. In several cases, this impact alone was enough to cause horrific injury to the guests within, but it also opened up several gondolas. With the floor ripped away by the crane, guests were thrown from the ride, tumbling down to the concrete below. The Skylab was brought to an emergency stop just moments after the collision, but the damage had already been done. The ground below was strewn with the twisted remains of several gondolas, and the bodies of the guests who had fallen from them. In total, 7 people died as a result of the accident, and a further 16 people were injured, some seriously. Police attended and closed down the funfair. It was clearly apparent that the mobile crane had caused the accident, and Norbert Witt, the last person to operate it, was arrested, questioned, and eventually put on trial. After work, he wandered around the fairground and looked over some market stalls. The staff of the Skylab caught his attention by shouting that they were about to run the ride for the last time that day. On a whim, Vincenzo paid 2.5 marks for a ticket and climbed on board. When the collision with the crane took place, Vincenzo's gondola was almost completely destroyed, with most of the lowermost part of it ripped away by the impact. Vincenzo survived by bracing himself against the bars on either side and drawing his legs up towards his body. He later said that he believed if he had not done so, he would have lost his legs in the disaster.
Thank you. Oh, say what it was. Thank you. Get down, Funky. Okay, get back up here. 18 years ago, they greet him in small towns by tying a yellow ribbon around the old oak tree. Then they try and hang him with it. All I can say, though, is this man's a genius. Now, who else can take all the forms of comedy, slapstick, satire, mime, and stand-up, and turn it into something that'll offend everyone? No, but this man doesn't want any frills on his show. All he wants is a loose director, a tight script, and a warm place to rehearse.
It is January the 21st. January the 21st, and it's motherfucking snowing in New Orleans. Oh my God. Look how beautiful that look. Oh, no.
You know, when we agreed that if you would vote for me, I would vote for you, well, I lied.
Boss, is he here for the grand opening? And so, no, the thing that was funny about Hervé was that he had a little difficulty with the language, you know. I mean, being from Mexico originally, I had a lot of trouble with the language, and he had trouble enunciating certain things, you know. For instance, one day, he was supposed to say, boss, is he here for the grand opening? And so, no, the thing I was doing.
Oh, no, that's
There he goes. Oh. He got it! Oh my God.
Did he?
Yeah.
What did he got?
A mouse.
Oh, boy. Yeah, dude.
$100,000 mortgage? Fine. I'll take care of it for you.
Queens. Little house, $110,000 mortgage, but I'm not interested in taking a nickel from you. The hospital needs a new CT machine.
Okay, what's that run?
$425,000.
$425,000? Who do you think I am?
We've already established who you are. Now we're just haggling. Thor tells me you just signed a big fat contract. Wonder what they're going to pay you in prison. Goodbye Nike, goodbye Gatorade, goodbye Dancing with the Stars.
Okay, I'll buy your fucking machine.
Tommy, Angelo, Mr. Page will be happy to sign those autographs now.
Could you step outside for a moment? Why? Because you irritate me.
He is my son.
Joanne,
Yes, Lou.
could you do me a favor?
Well, maybe on my lunch hour.
This is something I only see about, the last snow we had here was 5 years ago. Huh. Gonna try to get Agnes out in it. She don't like the snow for some reason.
Things like tea. Yeah.
What's the worst note a director has ever given you?
A director once asked me, am I a good director? So, I mean, that's the end of the relationship then.
They're looking for validation from...
The actor, the director.
This goes the other way, buddy.
Yeah. We're the needy ones.
Yes. Didn't they teach you anything in directing school?
Yeah. You need to make me feel good about myself all day long and bring me things like tea.
So you stick her 1.5, trying to match her, and here's Olivia Dunn on bars, following that 9.95 from Cowan.
Olivia has beautiful toe point. Gonna end with a double layout dismount. Good routine, just slight bent legs throughout the routine, but great job. Can tell she's happy with that.
In this city, there are no stray cats because they share the land with humans. Stray cats are considered protected animals here, and the government has laws to manage them as mediators when cats fight. The people here believe that if you don't love animals, you can't truly love people. If someone hurts a cat, they must build a temple to ask for God's forgiveness. Cats hold an important place in this city. They patrol the subway, and sometimes small cats even escort passengers out of the station. At security checks, you might see cats collecting fees. They also love to get close to humans and can even be seen on stage at concerts. Cats aren't afraid of people's gaze and even walk the runway. In this city, cats are free to go wherever they please.
If I wasn't looking at it, I wouldn't believe it. I am on Bourbon Street, and you can barely see a block in either direction.
Place le Montagne Rollet.
Yeah, there's always new Englishisms that come up all the time. The first one that I heard when we first started dating, we were watching wrestling at home, WWE. There was this wrestler called Big E, who was this really big, muscular guy, big biceps, you know, and he had a singlet on, and before he would do his, like, finishing move, he would take off one singlet, then the other to signify, and we were watching TV, and she went, "That's right, love, get your baps out." It was like, what? We don't have anything like it in the States.
Nothing.
There's nothing quite...
no equivalent.
Maybe going to take this the wrong way. You guys have the most adorable little expressions and words for things. You know what I just learned the other day? She goes, "Oh, we just had a little chin wag."
Chin wag.
How
Oh my
adorable
God.
is that?
Yeah, that's pretty cute.
And if it's a nice day, you got to bring your sunnies.
That's
But if
cute.
it's raining, bring your brolly. How cute. The most adorable thing is that you guys say poo. Cutest sentence I think I've ever heard anyone say is, "I done a poo."
What do children in America do?
They shit. I don't know. Oh, yeah.
Oh my. Oh my.
You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch.
Oh no!
You really are a heel. You're as cuddly as a cactus.
On a state law. So that car is going to go to car jail.
Here comes Karen.
Here's a number you can call, but I'm very sorry that I can't do this.
So here's the thing. You weren't privy to the entire conversation, number one. Number two, it had absolutely nothing to do with you. Number three, you came in and you didn't de-escalate, ma'am. You escalated the situation. Number four, I read your unflattering review on our lovely chef. You were upset about coffee that you came 15 minutes prior to when coffee is even served, and you were upset because it didn't come to you immediately.
Oh, I didn't mean my
And no,
receipt,
you will
please.
not curse at me. You will step out of my office immediately. I will email
I
it to
will
you.
step out of your office.
We don't condone this
Give
behavior.
me my receipt, please.
We don't condone
You
this
know what?
behavior in
I have
2022.
you
Out.
on-
Out.
Give me my
Out.
receipt, please.
We don't condone this in don't you ever talk to me like that. Shame on you. You need to work on your people
You know
skills,
what?
and you are not welcome back. Don't you ever
I
speak
would
to me like that.
never come
Good.
back to this
Thank
place.
you. You are a
And you
Karen.
know what?
You are the definition of a Karen, and we are not putting up with that.
So it's a thing. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun, man. We drive race cars for a living because we're in the traffic unit.
Oh, look at that guy's running there too.
Oh, this is gonna be bad, man. This is gonna be bad. Oh, they're opening up. Oh, shit. Get the... Oh my God. Oh my God.
Hey, I see the KDP. Gotcha.
They saved it.
December day, Officer Paul Roy performs a routine well-being check on an elderly gentleman in Madawaska.
Well, you had just gotten released from the hospital, right?
They never took me. They sent me away.
They didn't take you?
No. They sent me home.
Oh.
Said I wasn't sick enough.
Officer Roy finds out the man hasn't been able to cook for himself in a while or open bottles of Gatorade as suggested by the hospital to help with his dehydration.
Our policy is that we have to review body camera videos randomly, and it's like 10 a month. So we just happened to pick that one, and so my sergeant calls me on Saturday morning. He says, "Did you know that Paul cooked eggs for this gentleman?" And I said, first thing I was like, "What?" Because that's not typically something that we do.
Not typical for an officer to cook a meal for someone, but there Roy was, scrambling some eggs and buttering toast for a man who was hungry.
Hey, there you go, man.
I've always been one to really promote compassion in the community. And I realize sometimes you have to be a little heavy-handed, but it doesn't have to be extreme. And when you don't, there's that compassion goes a long way.
Good evening.
I'm so glad you stopped by.
Ah, you are?
Yes.
Oh, good.
Well, listen, Joey, you're a good man.
It sounds like there was a follow through to this as well.
I know that he's moved from that place and he's in a 30-unit, I don't want to call it a facility, but it's a housing, it's not, there's no nurses or anything like that there, but he's not by himself, so now he's got neighbors and, there's a community room that he can go to and things like that. And I know that there's been some resources that have been put in place to help him out. I think he's getting Meals on Wheels now. So that's all good stuff.
Hang in there, bud. Take it day by day. Call us if you need anything.
So Officer Paul Roy did not want the recognition, which is why Chief Pelletier spoke on his behalf. He thought it important to show that, once again, a little compassion can change a lot for someone. He said he's very proud of his officers.
And now the FAA wants to know how a drone ended up in there. It was hit by one of the air tankers helping out from Canada, a Canadair CL-415, better known as the Super Scooper, that has been vital to this air attack. They fly out to the Pacific Ocean, load up on about 1,500 gallons of water, then swoop back in and drop that water on their target fire. This is the exact plane in question, known as Quebec 1. And these are the photos from the Los Angeles Fire Department. You can see the hole in the leading edge of the wing there. That is where the drone apparently impacted this plane. The latest update from the Los Angeles Fire Department says the plane remains out of service right now. And I want you to listen now to police who say the search is on to find out who was operating that drone in restricted airspace.
Is he going to deliver sweet? Oh,
No, you wouldn't.
Or some other guy. This, of course, this glamazon in grape is RuPaul. One question to ask you. Why are you wearing Betty White's on your head?
Because nobody else would.
I thought I was going to die. I was praying to God to let me die from smoke inhalation, and please don't let me be burned alive.
To try and save her life, Malibu's Patty Phillips raced down the hill last week in Big Rock, blinded by thick smoke and surrounded by fire. Her dog Coda was in the car by her side, but she only got so far.
And I turned on Big Rock, and then the flames came at me everywhere, like a blast of flames and smoke. And I was blinded, and it's total vertigo. You can't see your road. You can't see in front of you. So as I drove up, all of a sudden I'm hitting these rocks, and I stopped my car. And I realized I'm not on our road. So I put it in reverse, which saved my life because I hit that boulder. If I hadn't hit that boulder, I would have rolled down the gully into the fire.
Unaware her car was stuck on a boulder, Phillips called 911, panicked and crying for help. The car would not move. She was trapped. Phillips says she was transferred to another dispatcher who explained getting to her was unlikely. Making things even scarier, Phillips had been separated from her husband James, who'd already made it safely down to PCH. As she prayed for survival, she sent these heartbreaking texts to him. I love you. I'm in big trouble. I'm stuck. I don't know where I'm at. My car won't move. The fire, and the text ends there.
Phillips was worried the tires on her car would melt. Fire and smoke was all around her. She wasn't leaving without her dog. So she laid on her horn, honking to make noise. Patty Phillips told herself, "I'm not giving up."
While this is all going on, my husband's down on PCH begging firemen to rescue me, and they're like, "We won't go up there. It's too dangerous." And he finds a fireman named Malcolm, who I am trying so desperately to find from the valley, big guy. And he said to my husband had him by the collar, say, "Please save my wife." And Malcolm says, "Let's go." And he goes up and he goes, "We might not make it, but we'll try."
About a half hour later, Phillips sees a fire truck coming toward her through the black smoke. It was her husband and the firefighter who she only knows as Malcolm.
I go, "Thank you for saving me. Thank you for saving me." He goes, "We still might die." He goes, "We're not out of danger." He goes, "We still have to get past this fire." And he made it, but he risked his life to save mine. Like, that is a brave man, and he needs a hug from me. He needs to receive an honor like nobody else would come.
Phillips knows she can never repay Malcolm, but she wants to find him to thank him for rescuing her and for saving her life. And Pat, if you can believe this, just about 5 o'clock tonight here in Malibu, amongst all these hundreds and hundreds of firefighters, we were able to find LA County Fire Captain Malcolm Dix. Now, a couple of our KCAL viewers sent us messages about an old LMU magazine article about a graduate named Malcolm Dix. It is the same Malcolm. I called a fire station in Calabasas where the article said that he worked. Captain Dix is now at a station in Pacoima, but he is here on the Palisades fire. He called us and we connected here at Urban Search and Rescue headquarters in Malibu. We showed Captain Dix the story, which brought a tear to his eye. We also FaceTime with the woman that he saved, Patty Phillips, and she praised him again. And she told him how grateful that she is to be alive and thanking him again and again for his bravery. She, of course, wants to meet him as soon as possible, but he is busy. Again, he is heading up the search operations here for the USAR team, Urban Search and Rescue, on this Palisades fire. Take a listen to what Malcolm Dix said about the rescue of Patty Phillips.
Oh, yeah. No, I told my kids, my wife about it. I didn't know if I'd ever see her again. And then about just your story aired, another story aired, and all of a sudden my phone blew up because my name, a lot of people don't have it. So I'll be excited to see her again and see the husband and the dog. And I'm just glad they made it out safe because unfortunately a lot of other people didn't.
Here is Olivia Dunn.
Well, guys, I asked Olivia yesterday, I said, let's be honest, you have opportunities galore, the world at your fingertips right now. Why was it important for you to come back for a 5th year? She said, at LSU, I get to be completely myself. She said, gymnastics doesn't care how many social media followers you have or the cool opportunities you get to do. It cares about your hard work and your dedication, and I wanted another year of that.
Thanks, Taylor. Yeah, Olivia, a lot of attention for NIL and her social media following, and certainly has done outstanding in that area, but she is a tremendous teammate. And you talk to the coaching staff and the athletes at LSU, and they cannot say enough about what not just a good athlete and a hard worker, but just a great teammate she is.
Yeah, I've known Olivia since she was around 11 years old, and I completely agree with everything you're saying. And that bar routine, that handstand right before that dismount, the way that she held that, it was like she was holding a handstand on the floor up against the wall.
Nice job from Olivia Dunn. That was Anna Patarariu for Utah on bar as she follows Smith's 9.85.
All of that money, and he essentially retired. And so this meant that Toby was around a lot more, which really should have been a good thing, but it wasn't, because Toby was actually a horrible, disgusting human being. He was extremely abusive in every way imaginable. And with him now being home all of the time, that meant that he had all the time in the world to control and terrorize his family. Toby Willis was a very, very sick man, and his pattern
timeless beauty. The Kent Amethyst Demi Parure is a jewelry set that seamlessly intertwines royal history with the rich symbolism of gemstones. Its origins trace back to one of the most dramatic events of the 19th century, the death of Princess Charlotte of Wales, the daughter of George IV, in 1817. This tragic event triggered a succession crisis, prompting the Duke of Kent to marry Princess Victoria of Saxe-Coburg-Saalfeld. Their union laid the foundation for a new dynasty, as their daughter, the future Queen Victoria, would ascend the British throne. The Duchess of Kent, Queen Victoria's mother, became the first owner of this exquisite parure, which was created in the first half of the 19th century. The amethysts that make up the parure perfectly matched the tastes of the era. Associated with mourning, these gemstones were often worn by the Duchess of Kent following the loss of her husband. One portrait of the Duchess depicts her wearing a shell-shaped brooch adorned with a central amethyst and 3 pendants. After her death in 1861, the parure was inherited by Queen Victoria, who designated it as part of the Heirlooms of the Crown, a collection of jewels reserved for the reigning monarchy. The set consists of a necklace, a pair of hair combs, earrings, and 3 brooches, though today the brooch is the most recognizable piece. It can be worn in 2 variations, with pendants or without. Queen Elizabeth II, who inherited the parure in 1952, rarely wore the entire set together. One such occasion was her visit to Portugal in 1985, where she paired the necklace, brooch with pendants, and earrings with the girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. This rare moment showcased the amethysts in their full glory. Experts speculate that 2 of the brooches from the set may have been used to lengthen the necklace, explaining the differing designs of some of its links. Despite the rarity of seeing the entire parure, the brooch became one of Queen Elizabeth II's favorite pieces. It frequently appeared at various events, especially during the later years of her reign. The Queen typically wore the brooch without its pendants, but during her visit to Arlington National Cemetery in May 1991, she chose to wear the brooch in its full form. Unfortunately, the other elements of the parure rarely, if ever, make public appearances. The hair combs mentioned in descriptions remain a mystery, as no photographs of them have surfaced. Many wonder if we will ever see the entire set in use.
The traditional Louisiana crawfish crab boil, and it's crawfish, not crayfish.
As long as I work here, you have no legal...
Is yelling designed to scare me? Because I'm not sure what it is I'm supposed to be scared of. More yelling? That's not scary. That you're gonna hurt me, that's scary, but I'm pretty sure I can outrun you.
5 minutes. And here's the time lapse. It's a very interesting way of looking at it, and yeah, I'm very glad I got this shot. Really cool to see. Enjoy.
That go on behind the scenes on your show? Goof ups?
Sometimes things don't go right in the neighborhood. But I did get that thing up.
Oh, good, good.
Evaluation at the conclusion of tonight's meet, but it was a real test for this team. Very emotional teammates and coaches, and it affected this floor lineup. She was slated to compete on floor and vault. Kalia Lincoln leading off for the first time this year, and Sierra Ballard moves into that second spot.
Thanks, Taylor. Yeah, emotional moment for the LSU Tigers before the meet, but they've got depth here, and this is some of it in Kalia Lincoln.
I think that is the best double layout in the world, including the Olympic level. She floats into it and lands as light as a feather. Coach Clark talked about how they have the back four in the lineup set. They're still figuring out and experimenting with who is going to start the team off and who's going to get that second spot.
The utter absurdity of the fact
to build something that will last hundreds of years and something that we can be proud of that we work together on. And this would not have been doable if we hadn't turned our property into a mini quarry, because now all of the materials aside from the sand and cement were essentially free. And it's as grand as it now looks. I feel a little awkward that it looks so huge and grand, but it was just materials that we dug out of the earth, and an opportunity for me to learn and stretch my skills. And I am proud of what we built here.
Then you should be proud.
Thank you.
It's pretty amazing.
still walking that runway. Everything's still going on. I love it.
Philippines, you know, think of a great sporting name, a boxing legend, Manny Pacquiao. He actually tried to qualify, even though he's been out of the ring for 3 years, but they're...
Special mix. People always ask me, Martha, what did you put on your garden? Because everything grows so fast and so well. Secrets. Super triple phosphate. Very important for flower bloom.
Gave up some landings, and they ended up tied. This rotation has started with LSU sticking landings. Oklahoma's landings not great on floor, and so far that is the difference. It absolutely, you just come down to something as simple as who is going to land better, and right now the Tigers are doing it here in this third rotation. Connor McLean following the 9.925 from Chio. The crowd hated that 9.925. They wanted to see that one be higher.
Connor is exquisite on this event. Did a great job, was a little bit off one of those shoulders and just kept that connection going. Sometimes when Connor's nervous, she tends to rush, but I'm noticing she's doing an excellent job taking her time. Connor prefers to have a very fast rhythm, but coaches want her to slow down.
Connor coming back from an Achilles tear. She was on the path to try to make that 2024 Olympic team, tore her Achilles, but just a remarkable comeback. Head coach Shay Clark called her a comeback, said there was ferocity in her comeback, and she is back on 2 events, and she's tumbling. The word is maybe we'll see her on that event before the season's over.
Yeah, it's hard to believe she was recently out with an Achilles injury. I mean, she is a superstar.
You know, if these beam routines keep going the way they're going, and they have been they're as good as these athletes can do them. But if they don't get a 10 at some point, I might run for cover because the crowd has not been happy, and they're getting rowdier and rowdier with each routine.
Cheers to day drinking.
Day drinking.
College.
You could fuck all the way off. Like, all the way off. All the way.
Leonard, let me tell you something. Personal robots cannot get here soon enough.
Next thing you know, you're drinking to blackout, which is kind of like sleepwalking with activities. And
Well,